U.S. Open round 2. So yesterday, only 10 players finished under par. So when you take a look at this, keep that in mind, that the average score was almost 5 shots above par. So Sam Burns looking good. Victor Hovland, A++. Brooks Koepka, decent. Not as good today as he was yesterday. And Scottie Scheffler, we're going to try to figure out what is going on with the best golfer in the world right now. Let's welcome in Gehman and Patrick McDonald. Patrick is there at Oakmont. He's looking all flashy in his little jacket and stuff. Let me ask you this, though, Patrick, because you're there, and Rick, you've mentioned about this. You can't see the undulation on TV. What is the course playing like today? Is it just as hard as yesterday? Is it even a little bit easier, Patrick?
I would say it's just as hard yesterday, Rick. I'm sure you can get into the statistics of it. The scoring average seems to be bearing out to a similar average right now, but it is different than yesterday in regards to how it kind of cadence, where there are birdie opportunities on this second 9 at Oakmont, because the way the tournament officials have set up these pin locations, you have accessible ones on 11, you have one on 12. That's kind of a funnel. They moved up the tees on 13. 17 is a very nice back pin location to that short par for a 17th, but you go to the front side and it's the polar opposite, where 2 is 3 from the back, 4 from the right, 5 from the left. 3 is just barely above this false front. If you come up short, you're 40, 50 yards below the surface. We saw Rory McIlroy make double there, and plenty others too. And so there's a fun little cadence to it where these guys have so much pressure on those birdie opportunity holes, making sure they, 1, make par, and 2, potentially add a circle to their card, and also making sure they don't give them back to the field. And then they also have to go back to all these difficult holes, which are the majority here at Oakmont.
Looking at just the scoring averages, the opening round was a 4.63 strokes over par. We're at 4.59 right now, nearly identical. That's very rare to have 2 consecutive days at any golf tournament be as close as we're getting at Oakmont right now. And Patrick is right about how these scores have kind of been distributed through these 18 holes. The front 9 is playing significantly more difficult today than it was in the opening round. So if you start on the front 9, you are not going to play a hole that is playing under par until your 13th hole of the day. So that means if you're starting on 10, you do get some of those scoring opportunities. It's all relative at Oakmont before having to finish with just an absolute brutal stretch of golf. So it's really living up to the hype here, Amanda. The scoring averages have been nearly identical over the course of the first 2 rounds.
Patrick, earlier you mentioned trying to take advantage of those birdies and not give them back. Sam Burns definitely did that today. He was absolutely phenomenal. Just 1 bogey, 6 birdies. He is now 3 under for the tournament. What part of his game has been so clutch?
Well, you think of Sam Burns, the first thing you think of is his putter. He's arguably a top 3 putter in the world. It's him, Maverick McNeely, Denny McCarthy. But so far in 2025, it seems like Burns has kind of put himself in a league of his own when it comes to his play on the greens. He almost won last week in Canada, remember, final round 62, lost in a playoff to Ryan Fox. But he's really made a nice step in the right direction these past couple of months in terms of his ball striking. He's never been known as the best ball striker in the world, but ever since the Masters, he's found something with his irons and he's found something with his driver as well. And I loved what he had to say after his round, where he said you can't guide it around Oakmont. Typically at a U.S. Open, you think you want to play defensive, you want to play within yourself, but he is actually taking the opposite approach and saying once you do try to guide it, that's when you get in trouble. So he's freewheeling it around this place. He has that putter that he can back up on whenever he does get out of position. But the way he's striking the golf ball, Sam Burns should be very confident heading into the weekend.
I've been most impressed with the unlimited firepower that it seems like Sam Burns has right now. I mean, he was well under par yesterday. He actually played his final 4 holes in 5 over to end his first round. That could have ejected him from this golf tournament. And what he did to open up the second round was wake up early, have a morning tee time, and go out and go nuts and pick up about 9.5 shots on the field. That round that he put together here on Friday is going to be the best major championship round of 2025. It is likely to be the best round that anybody on the PGA Tour has put together at any point in 2025, major championship or not. So we are getting a very historic run of golf from Sam Burns right now. Still 36 holes to go, but he's putting himself in a great position to cash in this week.
I was just about to say, we'll see how the rest of the weekend goes, but you can hang your hat on that, Sam Burns. Let's talk about Victor Hovland. Had a roller coaster day yesterday, kind of another roller coaster day today, but it appears the good definitely outweighed the bad. I believe he holed out for eagle on 17, 1 under for the tournament. Rick, talk to us about Victor Hovland here on day 2.
He's been knocking the cover off the ball, Amanda. He was leading the field in strokes gained ball striking after the first round, and he hit it just as well in the second round. He was much improved on and around the putting surfaces. Not only that chip-in eagle that you mentioned on 17, but he made a lot of those mid-range putts, oftentimes for par, that keep the momentum of the round going. And when you look at Victor and what he's done this week, it reminds me a lot of what he did a couple of years ago at Oak Hill in Rochester, where he was in the mix at the PGA Championship until about the 70th hole of that event that was eventually won by Brooks Koepka. I think when Victor Hovland is playing his best golf, he's one of the best ball strikers in the world, and being one of the best ball strikers in the world works really well at major championship venues, especially the more difficult that they get, like we're having here at Oakmont this week. So this is a place that sets up really well for him. The short game will likely decide where his finishing position will be this week, but I'd be very thrilled if I was Victor Hovland going into the weekend.
Sets up well for him. Patrick, how does it set up for Brooks Koepka? Because I will tell you, upstairs, where our little newsroom is, they love Brooks Koepka. Like, they would not stop yelling about him yesterday because he finished under par. He had a very good round today. 8 bogeys, 4 over today. He is now 2 over for the tournament, which is fine overall, Patrick. I mean, do you think he's going to be in contention given how he played today?
Oh, gosh. Once you
Hard
start doubting Brooks Koepka, you start to look like the biggest idiot in the world talking about golf. How could we forget about a 5-time major champion coming into a U.S. Open, which he has won twice? He's one of the few people to ever win this championship in back-to-back years. And it was vintage Brooks Koepka on Thursday. He started on that easier back 9, like we talked about earlier, had a putt there, I believe, on 13 to tie the lead, actually, thanks to his 2 early birdies. And then we saw him transition to that more difficult side. But the thing with Koepka, as opposed to, say, a Rory McIlroy or a Justin Thomas, who he played alongside the first 2 days, is you mentioned the 8 bogeys. You also see 0 double bogeys. You don't see that big tournament-ending score from Brooks Koepka, and that's just typical major championship golf, and no one knows that better than Koepka. So obviously not a great finish there. 74 is still going to get in a little bit below the field average by days in, and at +2, he is still firmly in this championship heading into the weekend. And as we know, Koepka is one of the best major competitors of this generation.
Patrick, from what I'm hearing, you might be our Brooks Koepka. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't know what that means.
Later.
I don't know what that means.
Rick he was like, oh, I kind of get it, given what we were talking about before he came on camera. Rick, talk to us about Scottie Scheffler here. World number 1. I mean, just the best person, the best golfer in the world. Can't say anything better than that. 12 bogeys between yesterday and today, 6 yesterday, 6 today. Is there anything there that's cause for concern? Or, look, he's just having a bad couple of days?
Yeah, it's still very early. A 71 in the second round is going to continue to age really well. He's going to continue to move up the leaderboard. He's probably going to be inside the top 25 going into the weekend with the way that the scoring averages are laying out. But this has not been the unbelievably impressive Scottie Scheffler that we've seen for the vast majority of 2025. He's not driving it particularly well. That left miss has reared its ugly head again, and playing out of that thick rough at Oakmont has become an issue. I think his distance control with his irons, the thing that he is probably better at than anybody else in the world. I think that's been a little bit lacking this week. And I also think that he gets a little bit frustrated on these really fast greens. He has nerded out over this in the past about how there's not enough friction on greens that are super fast and the ball does not break in the way that you want it to. Well, Oakmont's running at like a 14.5 or a 15 on the stimp. They're just incredibly fast right now, and I think that really frustrates him a little bit. So we haven't seen the putter really show up in a way that we would expect it. All that being said, still very much in this championship. He's going to have to play better over the final 36 that he has in the opening 36, but Scottie's got him right where he wants him.
I'll say this about Scottie. Where the media center is, we have a nice overlook of the driving range. And typically post-round, it's grip check, ball position check, just all the fundamentals. Scottie Scheffler right now has the TrackMan out. He's not a very statistical player. He's more of a field player. He had contraptions out. He was slamming his club. Balls were flying everywhere. He is not a happy camper right now because his ball striking was not good today. 6 fairways, 7 greens in regulation. The putter really kept him alive. This was the type of round that you need to win a major championship, to keep him in a major championship. But like Rick said, if the ball striking does not improve, it doesn't look like Scheffler is going to win his 2nd straight major.
We ran out of time to talk about Justin Thomas, but I will just tell you, if you're watching, search his name on the leaderboard because you're going to have to scroll all the way to the end to find him. Rick and Patrick, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you as the tournament continues to roll on. The early wedge, make sure to check those guys out on there. You can watch it or scan the QR code.